We had such a rich experience that was so much deeper than academics, so much deeper than athletics and fine arts. It was way deeper than that, and at the core of it, it was the fact that this place encouraged a deep personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And for me, I was actually the first person in my family to be saved when I was in first grade here at Cambridge. And I came home, and as a result of this school's ministry and what God's doing here and continues to do here today, my parents were saved, my brother was saved. So that stayed with me throughout high school, and really, I've always tried to stay involved in going to the choir trips, and this opportunity came about to come and consult with the school, and I was thrilled to do it because I, like my friends here, are passionate about what God has been doing in the school for decades and what he's going to continue doing in the school for decades. So I don't know if any of y'all want to speak to it.
Yeah. I love the theme of God being so prevalent in y'all's lives, especially at Seminole. I mean, was there a specific experience, whether teacher, class, choir trip, friend, or whatever, that kind of cultivated that? What kind of was that catalyst to kind of, propel your spiritual growth to go deeper?
I mean, I think the cool thing is that, it's not just one thing, it's everywhere. I think that you get taught in your classes through a biblical worldview, and then obviously in Bible class you explore your faith and scripture and all of that, but then on top of that, it's in choir. It's in choir every day, it's in choir on the choir trips with the small groups and all of that. You really develop your faith there. It's on sports teams, you pray together as a team, you talk about it in that context. It's in just your daily friendships and relationships. Since it's such a common part of conversation everywhere else, then at lunch and after school and whenever you're hanging out with your friends, spiritual stuff comes up then too. So I think that, for me, that was so neat, was that it's not just, it's Bible class and then that's it. It's everywhere.
Yeah, and I will add on to that and say that I'm like Jordan, and I don't come from a believing family. I still think most of my family members aren't believers. So I started school, and I actually just asked my dad the other day, like, Dad, why did you send me to Christian school? He's not a believer. And he just, said, I think it was good academics, and it worked out well, and this and that. I obviously know it was the hand of the Lord sending me here. My sister as well, and she's a believer now, but we're the two of like 25, 30 of us in Tampa that are. And so I would say in 5th grade, I remember praying with my teacher, Miss Quimby, and asking the Lord into my heart. And I think I probably prayed that prayer 10, 15 times in chapel at some point in elementary school. So I know I was saved before that, but I knew then and there, I knew the Christ was in my heart, and that, I gave him my life over. And so just kind of from saying 5th grade, that's when I knew. And I just grew in the Lord, and I didn't go to church. I didn't go to church on Sundays. I didn't experience the Lord anywhere but here. So Bible stories, all of that, I learned here in school. And so even in middle school, I still did, not until I got my own car and drove myself did I start going to church. So basically all I knew and how I grew is straight from this school and experiences in Bible class, as well as being loved by my teachers and by my classmates, and just seeing Christ love, all over campus. And that's really unique and significant, and I think that's what, having been growing up in a non-believing household and dealing with a lot of teammates throughout my years of playing soccer, non-believers, it really prepared me to know my faith and to be able to stand apart when things, when there's 90% of people are saying, let's, go do something, and that's not something I believed in, but because of my experience here, and the Lord working in my life, I can stand firm.
Real. How about you, Megan?
I think for me, after college, I had the opportunity to go work at another school in Tampa. And my first thought was I had been here since K4 and had gone all the way through. It was K4 and K5, so preschool. Went all the way through. My dad had worked here for years. My mom did. My brother went here. This was very much home to me. So for me, it was right after college, God led me to this other private school, which I, grew up in a private Christian school, so I knew how things would be. I knew they'd be different, but I felt the Lord leading me there because I felt, okay, this was home to me, and I want to make sure that I'm not just going back to what I'm used to, but that God can teach me in another place, and that I learned by working in a very low socioeconomic school in college and doing my internship there, that God can use me in dark places too. And I just felt like He was leading me to try something new, to not just go back to what I was used to. But then there was this longing that I felt I really wanted to teach kids about the Lord, and there was something missing. And so right before I got married, my now husband Jonathan and I started praying about it, and we felt like, we want to send our kids to, and my husband's right here, Jordan Morgan. He actually attended here as well when he was in elementary and middle school, and we both had such an incredible experience. His family came to know Christ through him and his sister going here, and we want that for our kids. We would love for our kids to go here one day. So I thought, with a passion burning in me to teach kids about the Lord, why not? And I loved it here, and I wanted to be a part of it again. And on the flip side, it's different being a teacher here, but it's so neat to see that side. I know that was one thing that we talked about talking about today, and to see how much our teachers had loved us here, and now we get to be on that side and love them. And we prayed for you before you started this year, and I didn't know any of my students, and I prayed for them, and I could not wait to meet them, and I can't wait to share this news all year long with them. And it's just so incredible. And I know that it's easy to sit here and not appreciate it sometimes. But when I think now that we've left and we saw what our experience was, we did appreciate it at the time, but when we leave, it lets us see, wow, look at what we had and how amazing that was. And like Shelley said, she saw God's hand in that her dad didn't send her here to learn about the Lord, but sent her here for education and things like that, and here he did this tremendous work in her life.
Yeah, and I just want to, I guess the point of us and the reason why we're here today sharing this message with you is to tell you that the reason why we're here has nothing to do with us, it has everything to do with God. And one, what God's doing here and what He did in our lives here, but two, in just the way that He shaped our lives and brought us back here to serve in the school. These people sitting to my left are incredibly intelligent and incredibly successful people that could be doing a lot of other things, making a lot of money, and doing more what the world says are more prestigious things. And that's why I think this gets me so excited, is that we're here, and we're doing what God has, you all are teaching and doing what God has called you to do, and that's the only reason. And that's the only reason you need. So
yeah, it's really cool to hear all the experiences of Seminole. But Tony, you were the first one to come back to Seminole.
I was the trailblazer. Yeah.
That's right. Blaze the trail for people to get here. What brought you back? What brought you back to Seminole or to Cambridge?
Well, I'd applied at several different schools. I decided when I was at Florida State that I wanted to be a teacher. That's what I wanted to do with my life because of the impact teachers here at Cambridge had on me. I had really good relationships with a few of them. My cross-country coach, who was also my science teacher. And that says a lot, because I don't really like science, no offense. But I don't really like science, but this science teacher really had a big impact on my life in helping me to grow in my faith. So I applied at all these different schools. Some were public, some were private, some were Christian, some were not. But ultimately what happened, I applied at Cambridge thinking, that might be a really cool experience. I might be able to be a different kind of teacher at Cambridge than I would be somewhere else because I've sat in those seats, I've worn that uniform, I've been in the chapels where they have people up here talking and things like that. I would understand the students here in a little bit different way that I might not at a different school. After thinking and praying about it quite a bit, it really seemed like everything was pointing me back to Cambridge. I could have gone and taught at a different school, but I chose to come back to Cambridge after giving it significant thought and prayer because it was like every time I turned around, God was reminding me, you can be a different kind of teacher here. Certainly, you could be a teacher anywhere, but at Cambridge, given the background that I have here, given that I know what it's like to be a student here, it just felt like it would be a more effective type of ministry that I could do as a teacher.